Alright guys, I've got a real fucked up and creepy one for you today. Today I'll bring to light the scary and not that spoken of creepy urban legend within Morrowind known as jvk1166z.esp. This is a supposed mod that was made and released by unknown sources. Now, if you search this on the web, you'll find either the creepypasta story or someone reading the creepypasta story. I'm rather going to condense the story, give my perspective on it, and explain why this one might be a little bit more than just an urban legend or a hoax. First, I'll explain the story. Basically, the mod was posted on a small Elder Scrolls community by unknown sources and was initially thought to be a virus because it froze the game up when ran and was, of course, only posted for a few days due to its malicious intent. A year later, the mod pops up again on a different board by someone who says that they were randomly messaged by a lurker on the board whom deleted their account after distributing a download to the mod. This time around, the mysterious sender stated to run the game in DOSBox to make it work so that it wouldn't freeze up. So someone does this and the game works, but it's a little bit laggy. Also, all the menus and options and etc. don't work. You can't do anything in the game except quick save and quick load. Furthermore, when the game starts, supposedly every major character in the game is already dead, so the game is doomed from the start. Also, your character every so often loses a bit of health. Supposedly, this is because there is a creepy, deformed assassin whose arms and legs are bent to resemble a spider's that darts around the game incredibly fast, scurrying across the ceiling and the walls, the floor, etc. And it quickly attacks you for a small portion of health, then vanishes occasionally. Also, supposedly at random intervals throughout the night, all the NPCs in the game would walk outside and stare up at the sky, repeating over and over, "Watch the sky." So, one player on this gaming board gives his experience with the mod, and he says he discovers a new NPC at Ghost Gate named Tierras. Two things are notable about him. One, his robe is an animated, starry, twinkling night sky. And two, all his dialogue is voiced by a very good dark elf imitator. Now, Tierra sends the player to a dungeon, and it's just called the Citadel. This dungeon dwarfs all others in its size, supposedly, and at the end of this long dungeon, the player finds a long hallway called the Hall of Portraits. Supposedly, there are picture frames hanging in it that utilize the player's picture folder, displaying whatever is on the player's hard drive. Now, at the end of the hall is a locked door that cannot be picked open. The player relating his experience with the mod states that he notices at night the sky isn't the normal Morrowind sky, but rather what looks like a video of a real-life night sky, and that supposedly the sky and moon move like in real life. After noting how quickly the moon moves, it's believed that one day in real playtime would equal out to 1 year in the game's sky time. Now, this is in accordance to the NPCs stating to watch the sky at night, and it led to the player believing a celestial occurrence would happen and that would signify when the door at the end of the hallway would unlock. The player stated that he would leave the game running for a whole day. However, right when 24 hours hit and the player was beginning to fall asleep, the assassin that scurries around him, it would stop and squat in front of him and scream very loudly, waking the player up. This was rumored to actually be, thought to be at least, a helpful thing from the creator of the mod. It was something used to keep the player from falling asleep at the keyboard and missing whatever event the player was looking for that signified when the door would unlock. Well, after playing for 3 days straight, 3 years in game time, the game suddenly goes utterly dark. The player states he can see figures running all around him, but they scatter if he walks near them. The player begins to have sleep deprivation, hallucinations, and dream projections, and supposedly he sees one of the game's NPCs who tells him he is very close and that the door will unlock for him very soon, and that not many others have gotten as far as him. After his first hallucination, reality and the game blend together. He sees the assassin a lot more often. He thinks he sees it crouched with long legs like a spider in his room, shrieking at him. He states when he tries to push it away, his arms sink into its bodies like hot black tar. The player finally states in his last email to the correspondent relating his experience that he cannot sleep, and when he lays down in bed he hears the assassin tapping on his window outside. No further emails or updates were received by the player since the last one. So, there's the story in a nutshell, though I highly suggest reading it in its entirety. The detail makes it much more chilling. However, I am a presenter and debunker, not a storyteller, and with that, let's take a look at the evidence. The most popular image floating around the web is this, a supposed screenshot in the game when it supposedly gets ridiculously dark. Creepy enough, but if I go in and enhance this photo, we see what looks like the assassin crouching, and it is quite disturbing looking indeed. Next, we have here an artist's representation of what the assassin supposedly looks like. Finally, this is a supposed screenshot of the portrait hallway utilizing a player's pictures. So, not much hard evidence, right? Well, I thought so too until I dug deep enough and found this. A download of the actual mod on MediaFire. Here is a picture of the folder. This is what's inside. A folder called Assassin, a LVL file called core.lvl, an Elder Scrolls construction set file called jvk1166z, and another LVL file called mission.lvl. Now, things become even stranger when we open the Assassin folder. Inside is a folder called Archive and a bunch of sound files, which I'll play for you now with their names shown accordingly. Finally, if we open the archive folder, we see 5 LVL files named 1.lvl, 2.lvl, 5.lvl, imp.lvl, and impt.lvl. There's also a picture and a text file. If we open the picture, we are given this disturbing image. After enhancing its brightness, we can see a tall figure wearing all black with a body being carried over its shoulder. If we enhance it, we can see this even better. Supposedly, this is the assassin in-game. Finally, most disturbing of all, if we open the text file, it reads, "I don't know if anyone will ever read this, but listen. Do not, I repeat, do not try to load this mod. I cannot explain why, just delete it." So, the fact that this thing exists, to me, gives it some credibility. Will I run the mod and experience it for myself? No, I won't. However, if anyone wishes to give this thing a try, I will post a link in the description of my video to its download link. Download and try at your own risk. And if you experience anything with the mod and can get it to work, please film it, upload it, and let me know.